topic for this particular, I'm admitting people as I'm talking. We're going to be talking about the jumping off point being the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, which I'm sure we are all aware of. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what that might mean and also explore some of the different aspects of the broader scope of the chart for today, the chart for that event, and kind of where we're headed. So for those of you guys who catch my podcast, I'll just kind of lightly touch on the reason why this is a big deal. There's a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn every 20 years. 20 years is a big cycle in general. And then for every 200 years, the conjunctions have themes. So the theme is the earth, water, air sign, so to speak. And so we've just come out of the earth element. And today we're starting a new 200-year cycle in air element signs, Aquarius being one of the air signs, just like Libra. So there's instead of a more congealed 3D energy, there is a lighter, quicker, and we're going to be kind of touching on the topic of 4 and 5D energy. With this, I would like to offer this 200-year cycle for us. So one of the things that might mean would be a kind of a new perspective, and it's going to take a little bit of time. I think when we look at the chart for today, it's a really cool chart, but we get to see why we're still in the 3D world, because we really do want to stay here. And I also mentioned in the broadcast that the last time, the cool thing about tonight, and I'm going to share my screen. We'll get back to this when we get to our practice. But so here's how this might look. So you can kind of see up above the mountain there's two bright stars. They're actually going to come to be seen as one star. So the last time that happened was 1623. The last time it happened in Aquarius was 1405. 1405 was round about the start of the Renaissance. So we have all these new beginnings too. We can feel the kind of the fuel that's in the tank for wherever we're all headed. And I think, we're all gathered because we're wondering what that might look like and what our role might be in that. And I want to first share with you the chart I think I did a decent job. I think I got all the stuff right, but it'll show you the aspects that I want to mention. So this is the chart for this event today. And in the, in the 11th house is kind of what I think is interesting. Well, let's back up. We have Jupiter and Saturn conjoining at 0 degrees of Aquarius. That's right on the ascendant. It's right at the 9 o'clock on a clock, round about there. Those yellow squiggly lines, you can look up, you can see 2 zeros. That's Jupiter and Saturn conjoined. Even the shape of this chart is pretty cool. You can see it's got a lot, things are converging is kind of the point. There's a lot of conjunctions are new beginnings. And if you go further up, if you go to maybe closer to like 10 or 11 o'clock, you'll see the Sun and Mercury are conjoined at 0 degrees Capricorn. I don't know if I can draw on this and you can see it, but if you can see where I've just highlighted on the screen, there's a donut looking thing and then something right below it. And they are, so that's what I wanted to mention. So we'll get to what I wanted to do, a little bit of reading and sharing about what Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius might each individually and collectively mean. But it's interesting to note that the Sun and Mercury are also conjoined right now in the sign of Capricorn. So Sun is our external self, our ego, our identity, very much this world that we live in. And Mercury is a planet of communication. And Capricorn, we've just been through tons of Capricorn energy. Capricorn, is slow moving. It's structure. It likes to have all its I's dotted and T's crossed. So there's a little bit of old ways of looking at things that's still going to be hanging out in the ether. As much as part of us feels like we're ready to take off on a spaceship, part of us is also kind of seeking to have it be something that we can actually relate to. So the Sun in Mercury conjunction, I wanted to point out, means that there's also a new beginning there, but that beginning is kind of desiring to pull us back into the 3D world a little bit as we're kind of expanding and taking off with the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Those two are big planets. I think that's it's an even bigger deal because it takes a lot more time and we can see them in the sky. And I wanted to offer up next just a little bit of, I'm going to read you an excerpt of a book on astrology by Lynn Birkbeck on what Jupiter in Aquarius might mean. So, Jupiter in Aquarius arises the question of how the world ought to be. This makes you want to view life as an open and optimistic and democratic way possible. In effect, you feel that in order to plot a course into the future, everyone should agree with everyone else, or at least agree to differ. Everyone should get along. This idealistic and humanitarian philosophy of this combination has to develop and make itself real through sharing individual views with others, friendships, teams, groups. So Jupiter in Aquarius, that offering, I find it interesting because it kind of helps us ground it back down. We've got these two big planets, Jupiter's expansion in one word, Saturn's karma in another. So moving forward, pulling back, they're coming together in this dance to put an exclamation point on this day. So a lot of us probably feel like we're ready to burst out of the cage. You know, we're ready to go on to the next thing. That is true, but what we're being reminded of is that Sun conjoin Mercury and Capricorn. There still is a little bit of a structure and a process, but the point is, it doesn't have to be the old structure. It's just that we don't know what that structure is yet. So we are going to get to co-create the structure. Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius makes for a complex set of rules in life because somehow we want freedom and order rolled up together. And we can get into a bind if we are struggling against the very principles that we devised in order to attain our liberation. We should then make adjustments that will accommodate for actions of others. The pattern continues, which is wanting our own way and wanting others, until we're surrounded by ideals and circumstances that are at odds. To truly free ourselves, the task at this time is to first and foremost identify what it is from our past conditioning that is preventing from maintaining and being in flow. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share. We did meditations all day today, and they were about our being in sync, in flow, surrender, being the conduit, and spreading the love. And that is, I'm going to bring it right back to that, but a little bit of the energy, it's kind of interesting. It's almost as if, you know, we have this realization and then it's a little bit challenging to bring it back into home, because then we have to go make dinner. We have to go do the next thing. And really what we're supposed to be doing right now is spending more and more and more time just simply being the conduit and just simply being in flow. And Jupiter and Saturn are going to provide us with many opportunities. So this one particular day is also not necessarily anything totally crazy or miraculous is going to happen on this day, but energetically, it's an exclamation point. It's a noting point. And conjunctions are birthing times. So we are being rebirthed right now. However, we're not going to be a baby who can walk or ride a horse or ride a bike tomorrow. We are going to be these beings that are forever and always in the process of expansion. And the one thing that is coming through, which is wonderful about all these things that are happening right now around this conjunction, around the solstice, is the messages that are converging together are supporting us in being in flow and being connected and in being one. So I want to stop share there, and we're going to get to a little bit of a 3D, 4D, 5D experience. But I want to put another note on the fact that Saturn and Jupiter are conjoining in Aquarius. So Aquarius is a time when humanity as a collective regains, it's not take control, it's remembers our power. And so we can kind of step into our rightful heritage as creative beings, is what I want to offer. Aquarius is helping us to do. And we talked about the waves with the Schumann resonance. I believe it was in the Egyptian section of our day today. There's also this wave aspect of the Aquarian energy and of this kind of idea of a shift of ages. And there's a lot of talk about whether or not, when did the shift occur? When is the age of Aquarius going to occur? When is it going to happen? And I want to offer that the date itself isn't necessarily the most important thing, even though obviously today is a big day. It's the fact that it's happening in waves. And much like with the higher vibrations of the Schumann resonance, we need time to acclimate. And our responsibility is to be present and to be in the energies and to do the work that we want to do to acclimate into higher vibrations. So we're moving out of one age into another. Whether or not that happens exactly on today, I want to offer is kind of not the point. It's more that it's an emergence over time. We need time to be reborn, just as a baby needs time to be able to get up and walk. So we're going to do a little bit of practice here right now. We're going to do a 3D, 4D, and 5D meditation that I hope that you will find helpful, to say the least. And for this first one, I don't have an image prepared. So let's just go ahead and close our eyes. And this is to bring us into our feeling of our physical body. So just close your eyes and let your spine be straight, let your shoulders and face relaxed. And just imagine that you're sort of floating so that your body is fully relaxed. All your muscles are relaxed. I'm even sitting in this swing chair here. You might imagine that you're floating in a body of water, or that you're in a hammock or something where you can just feel that you're held. And let your thoughts slow down. And we're going to bring our awareness to our head, to our brain. So we likely learned in school that we have 4 brains. Our first brain, right at the base of our skull, is the reptilian brain. So this is our sort of ancient brain, our instinctual brain. And see if you can just kind of connect to that space in your physical body. This is the brain that gives us insights if we listen. It knows hot and cold, it knows wet and dry, it knows what's good and what's not. It's a very essential part of us. So just connect right there for a moment to that reptilian brain. And then kind of move above and beyond. Wrapped around the reptilian brain is the mammalian brain. Our mammalian brain knows when we need to fear, when we need to run, when we need to not run. Our mammalian brain uses our senses to hunt for food and look for safety. We have some memory there. We discern, we decide. We want companionship. We live in a communal world. So just connect to that mammalian brain. And now we're going to go to our human brain as we've learned it. Right in the middle of our head, front to back, wrapped around the mammalian brain, kind of like a sheathing, almost as if it's insulating everything else. And so this human brain has these thoughts, and you can just imagine, we've all seen those images, those brilliant neural bursts shooting through us, the circuits, our thoughts, so many thoughts. And you might even just notice how many thoughts are just running right now. Just observing. Now, before we finally move to our neocortex, that's the stuff right in front of our forehead, often known as extra stuff. We feel it when we have brilliant realizations. We feel it when we have ideas and insights and when magical things happen. We feel it when we're dreaming our world alive, and you can almost feel that little heat in the front of your brain, in the front of your head right now. And as you do, you might even notice your face relaxes and smiles. Wonderful. So then just coming back into your body, that is our 3D existence. I'm going to share an image next for our 4D existence. I want you to imagine, I'll put a picture up of a knot. So imagine now your feelings. Tune into your feelings. Whatever feelings are present in you right now. Maybe all the peace, all the excitement, all the joy, all the mundaneness. And as our mind might want to do, consider which things come from within you and which things come from without you, come from outside. Do you have any sense of the feelings that you created versus the feelings that others created? Whether you're tuning into somebody else's feelings or your own. So right now, see if you can pick a big feeling, any big feeling that comes up for you. Notice what that is. Notice what's kind of just right there. It could be a feeling. It could be a feeling with an image. It could be a feeling with words. Just find that feeling. And now, no matter what the feeling is, see if you can see what it is. See what it is and maybe even bring more of your focus to it. Just let yourself go there and find whatever that feeling is. And see if you can see it and feel it from all sides of you. And notice what it does to your body. And it's interesting as we're on the solar plexus activation day. Notice what it does in your own solar plexus as we are microcosms to the macrocosm of Mother Earth. So just notice what it's doing in your solar plexus. And notice if you see any images, notice if you have any physical sensations, and see if you can just kind of start to amplify those. And I put up this image of a knot, because if there's any feeling that's wanting to be unstuck, this image of a knot is a perfect metaphor, because only we ourselves can untie those knots. So there's nothing to do right here besides just being with it and breathing, and see if you can start to feel space opening within you, right around your solar plexus, whatever this big feeling is, however it's pulsing. And as you kind of move into that knot, see if you can really start to see the feeling and feel the feeling. Maybe even find where it's coming from, what its source, first experience of yours, history of yours might be. And you might wonder how it's ever going to go away. Or you might just want it to stay because it's amazing. Just explore. And perhaps once you know where it's coming from, you can start to see how you can change the feeling. Maybe even make it go away just by understanding how it came. Maybe there's something that comes to mind to do. Maybe it's just this simple realization and this willingness to be with the feeling. And now back to your solar plexus. Notice if it's a little bit looser and a little bit lighter. Just simply by being with the feeling. Notice if there's anything that's maybe even bringing a little bit of a smile to your face. I offer this as a 4D meditation because 4D is the world of light and dark. 4D is the world of fear versus reality. And one of the ways that people talk about 4D is it's a training ground for us. So that's very much up for what we all experience right now. There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of dark. It's a very 4D aspect coming into our physical existence. I like that meditation because it helps us to see that just by being willing to be, to bring our consciousness, our true awareness, just simply to be with it, simply by observing it, we have the power to shift it. That's right back to the messages of all our gatherings of the power of our consciousness. So there's these universal themes circling around today. I hope you can sense that they're coming through in all these topics. Us as a conduit, the power of our consciousness. And we're going to get to next this idea of oneness. So let me put up another share for our 5D experience. Okay, let me move this over the Nautilus shell. All right, so return to the breath. And see if you can take a breath, draw the air all the way now up from your feet into your chest. Breathe up from your feet, breathe into your chest. And then as you exhale, breathe out from your heart and up through the crown of the head. And then reverse that flow. Inhale from the top of the head down into your chest, down into your heart. Exhale, breathe out through your feet. You are a conduit in both directions. So inhale, take the energy in the air up through your feet into your heart. Exhale to the top of the head. Keep that breath going. Breathe in through the top of the head. You might even start to breathe in light and energy into your heart. Breathe out, down through your feet. Breathing in. This is you breathing. Nobody else is doing this. This is your consciousness. Breathing out. Inhale through the top of the head. Feel your chest expand. Exhale through your feet. Just let your breath be easy. So there's nothing to do to try to breathe. Just maybe focus on that cycle. Inhale up into the heart. Exhale to the top of the head and just feel your body responding. You're naturally kind of opening with the breath. Inhale through the top of the head into the heart. And feel your heart start to expand here too. Exhale down through your feet. Breathe up through your feet. Tune into the color green in your heart. Breathe out through the top of the head. And now just simply stay with your heart center. Green, golden light, whatever other colors are there. This is also you. So simultaneously, your consciousness, your physical body is breathing, and this beautiful, brilliant light at the center of your chest in your energetic body is also you. And now, bring to mind someone you would like to connect with. Anybody, notice who comes to mind first. And potentially you just want to send love to that person with your heart. You can go ahead and do so now. You can imagine them. You can send love from your heart. You might even just enjoy the experience. And notice how you might instinctually send love. Maybe you beam it from your heart. Maybe you surround it in their field like a warm hug. Just notice what your visual is, if anything, or maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe you can feel the pulses. Maybe you paint the person with a paintbrush full of light. Just connecting with that person and sending them love. This person could also be a pet. It could be a plant, any kind of conscious being. And we're just going to stay here with this person, just one being, just one person. And see if you can stay until you can really feel the satisfaction and the connection. It's almost as if the energy will peak, build and build and build, and you're building just to make sure you're sending it. And there's this moment where almost like it expands out and then it kind of sets in. It's that moment where you know that you've sent the love. And now just take another breath, focus on your physical chest. Notice any sensations around your heart, how big your heart is. Notice if there's a little bit of pain around the edges. As we expand, we're always pushing those boundaries, so just paint those edges with light. And see if at this time you can also just give yourself a dose of your own love for having done this practice. So now coming back to our gathering, notice how you're feeling. I put the image of the shell up because it's sacred geometry, Fibonacci sequence. And as we head into 5D, that idea of everything already being programmed and interconnected, it's the way that nature knows how to grow from a seed, that everything expands out. So the experience of sending love is an important step in the direction of oneness, because you might even notice what happens in the next day or so between you and that person. That's what I call energy healing, but it's actually just human energy, remembering our field. The idea of oneness is that each of us just picked a person and connected, and we did that across time, we did that across space. That breaks down the 3D constructs, the ways that we get stuck. And 5D is really this experience where we're all one, and we can each start to really feel that, to get in there and say yes. And then there's this kind of wobble that I'm talking about in the chart for today, which is this huge expansion and the need to integrate it, the need to want to sit down and have a good meal at dinner and feel like we're integrating into the whole. So I liked this experience of sending one person the energy and still expanding and understanding our heart, because it's a very important step in realizing that we exist across time and space. And if we exist across time and space and we can send energy anywhere we want to right now, then we can do a lot of things across a lot of different times and a lot of different spaces. Oh my gosh, it's 12:30 and we have another gathering. I'm talking too much. Okay, so let me wrap it up in just one or two sentences about Saturn, Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius. It's been talked a lot about. It's a big deal. It's two planets that are our big manifestors coming together in this sign, this air sign, this fast-moving sign. In air is going to be very creative, very new agey, very multidimensional, very, very 5D, in the sense that 5D is oneness. 5D is beyond the boundaries that we know. So I hope that these meditations are helpful, and I hope that sharing the chart, I've tried to squeeze a lot into 30 minutes, and I think I'm now pushing the borders of it. I need to stop this recording and go get a couple more tools for our Hopi gathering. I hope that you can come back for the Hopi Mayan gathering, because it's going to be super amazing. I'm going to just real quick hop off and thank you guys, and I will see you again in 1 minute or so. All right, thanks guys. Infinite gratitude and love, yes.